Assume you get up one morning with burnout, monstrous dissatisfaction, and profound set. Dissatisfaction with your life. You glance around and draw a rundown of what you don't have: the enormous vehicle, the stunning home, the captivating position, and unexpectedly you start begrudging the people who appear to have everything in their control. It turns into an endless pattern of needing more, taking a stab at something you don't have, and it are not in to feel that you enough anyway. Are you mindful that you can get away from this circle of disillusionment? Consider the possibility that you could comprehend the worth of the things accessible and be cheerful right now. Seneca and Marcus Aurelius, two indifferent rationalists of old Rome, give us this saying. A well-off Roman savant reminds us no individual has the ability to have all that they need, yet it is in their power not to need what they don't have and to effectively utilize happily what they in all actuality do have at the end of the day, though then continually wanting more. We ought to center around being thankful for what we as of now have and capitalize on it. Marcus Aurelius, a Roman ruler, an emotionless logician, repeats this opinion at the point when he says, in the event that anybody can disprove me, show me I'm committing an error or looking at things according to some unacceptable point of view, readily transform its reality. Later, and reality never hurts anybody. He urges us to be receptive, ready to significantly impact our viewpoints, and look for truth and insight regardless of anything else. These antiquated lessons might appear to be basic, however they hold colossal power in our cutting-edge existence, where we frequently find ourselves got up to speed in seeking after material belongings, economic well-being, and momentary joys. By embracing the standards of happiness, open receptiveness, and respectability, we can develop a feeling of internal harmony and satisfaction that rises above outside conditions. Currently picture getting up toward the beginning of the day with bliss for something as straightforward as espresso, great climate, or even the sound of giggling from a relative too, that stand apart are being capable to challenge your suppositions and the eagerness and capacity to change, attempt to comprehend what it is, prefer to be moral, and have the option to find out right from wrong, and as opposed to choosing by the simplicity of notoriety, the group, the pattern, or the style. These examples that Seneca and Marcus Aurelius bring to the table for us are as pertinent today as they were huge number of quite a while back. By embracing their insight, we can open the keys to an existence of valid bliss, reason, and uprightness, a day-to-day existence that isn't characterized by what we have, however by what our identity is, and the way in which we decide to live, finding satisfaction in what you have. Can you? Part 1. Finding happiness in what you have. Recollect that you have at any point fallen head over heels for something you could see yet for didn't have or want to claim the item. Example: another computer game control center or a pristine bicycle. Maybe you might have even had that first impression of jealousy, particularly when you saw your companion or schoolmate getting all that you would have needed. Everybody will go through it in the course of their life, yet it tends to be an unfulfilling and miserable spot. Assuming that is your center. Seneca, the insightful Roman logician, comprehended this feeling really quite well. That is the reason he shared this strong guidance. No individual has the power to have all that they need, yet it is in their power not to need what they don't have, and to happily put to great use what they truly do have. At the core of Seneca's instructing is contentment, the capacity to find satisfaction and satisfaction in what you as of now have, as opposed to continually pursuing more. It's a basic thought that can be unquestionably strong in assisting us with driving more joy for more fulfilled lives. Imagine a scenario in which you could be more than happy with your current games and contraptions, as opposed to begrudging your companion another video gaming gadget. I wish individuals could have what they need and quit hankering the late elegant garments to wear. Perhaps some individuals could burn through some energy attempting to cause a decent outfit with what they to have, by moving your outlook from consistent needing to appreciation and appreciation. You can open a feeling of inward harmony and satisfaction that no material belongings can give this thought of. Happiness and effortlessness isn't exceptional to Seneca. It has been reverberated by astute educators and savants from the beginning of time. For instance, the old Greek thinker Socrates carried on with an existence of outrageous straightforwardness, possessing justly uncovered fundamentals and zeroing in on chasing for shrewdness and information. He trusted that genuine satisfaction came not from material belongings, but rather from developing ideals. What's more, seeing correspondingly the lessons of Buddhism underline the idea of non-connection, empowering devotees to relinquish their desires and longings for material things, and on second thought find happiness right now. The Buddha carried on with a daily existence of outrageous effortlessness, disavowing his affluent childhood to look for illumination. Furthermore, inward harmony, however, the insight of satisfaction and effortlessness isn't simply something from the past. It's additionally embraced by endless people and networks in current times. Take 4. Model the minimalistic home development, where individuals cut back and live in little basic homes to diminish their natural effect, set aside cash and spotlight on what really matters, or consider the moderate way of life where people deliberately limit their assets and utilization to develop a feeling of opportunity, lucidity and happiness. By being in their actual spaces and giving up of abundance, they can see the value in what they really worth and track down bliss in the present. Second, even in occupied urban areas and clamoring networks, a few people have found satisfaction and bliss by embracing straightforwardness and appreciation. Maybe it's the retired person who finds bliss in watching out for a little nursery, or the understudy who relishes the basic joy of a decent book and a warm cup of tea. So how might you begin developing a sense of satisfaction and appreciation for what you as of now have? Here are some common sense tips and activities to attempt. 1. Practice appreciation every day. Take a couple of seconds to consider what you're thankful for. No matter how little, record them in a diary or take a couple of full breaths and let the sensations of appreciation wash over both of you. Clean up your space, glance around your room or living region and distinguish things you never again need or use. Give, or on the other hand, sell these things, and notice how getting out actual mess can likewise assist with clearing your psyche and develop a feeling of effortlessness. 3. Enjoy little joys. Rather than continually searching out broad energizing encounters, figure out how to value the basic delights in life, the glow of the sun all over, the taste of ready natural product, or a friend or family members chuckling for practice. Care when you feel desirous or disappointed. Take a couple of full breaths and return your thoughtfulness regarding the current second notification, the sights, sounds and sensations around you, and help yourself to remember the overflow you as of now have. Limit openness to promoting. Commercials are intended to make us feel disappointed with what we have and desire more. Take a stab at restricting your openness to advertisements, whether by buying into ad-free web-based features or essentially being more aware of the showcasing messages you consume by taking on the insight of Seneca. Furthermore, developing a feeling of happiness and appreciation for what you as of now have, you can open a way to valid joy and satisfaction. An excursion requires practice and persistence, yet can eventually prompt an existence of more noteworthy happiness, harmony and opportunity. Recall, valid joy doesn't come from continually obtaining more, it comes from figuring out how to appreciate and capitalize on what you as of now have. So take a full breath, look around you and track down appreciation now. The way into an existence of happiness and fulfillment has been there from the start, only sitting tight for you to embrace its self-restraint and sympathy at any point. Asked for what reason being unforgiving. Section 2. A self-restraint and sympathy on ourselves is more open than for any other individual. We could continually lash at ourselves over an insignificant blunder, or continue to come down on ourselves to convey the best outcome, while being undeniably more magnanimous in our assumptions to a companion or a relative. The savvy Roman head and logician Marcus Aurelius perceived this propensity, they offered strong counsel: be open-minded with others. What's more, severe with yourself. At first this could sound confounding or even inconsistent. Shouldn't we be caring and understanding towards ourselves excessively well? Indeed, and no, Marcus Aurelius wasn't saying we ought to be excessively unforgiving or brutal to ourselves, mythical people. How he stressed the significance of self-restraint and considering ourselves responsible for our elevated expectations, while stretching out sympathy and understanding to other people. Consider it along these lines: if you have any desire to succeed at something, whether it's a game, an instrument, or your examinations, you should be focused and devoted. It would be ideal to drive yourself to rehearse, learn and develop in any event, while testing or uncome agreeable at the same time. You wouldn't expect a similar degree of flawlessness from others. You'd be patient, steady, and comprehension of their battles and missteps. By executing this rule of being severe with yourself and being lenient toward others, you acquire great self-control. What's more, the capacity to encourage great relations with others, thus taking a positive disposition in every one of the exercises you participate in to accomplish the put forth objective. Over the entire course of time, societies and ways of thinking have embraced this thought of adjusting self-restraint and empathy. For instance, the old straightforward champions were eminent for their thorough preparation and relentless self-restraint. Still, they were additionally educated to regard their adversaries and have pity on the people who gave up in Buddhism. Care, being available and mindful, existing apart from everything else, is viewed as a way to self-restraint and empathy. By creating care, one can turn out to be more mindful of their viewpoints, feelings and activities, taking into account more prominent discretion and responsibility. Simultaneously, care cultivates a feeling of move that lined up with their qualities and ended up being a sharp business choice. As shopper, interest for feasible choices developed. So how might you foster the liberality, furthermore, readiness to change, that Marcus Aurelius pushed for? Here are some viable techniques. 1. Practice undivided attention when somebody presents a point of view that varies from yours. Fight the temptation to excuse or contend against it promptly. Rather put forth a cognizant attempt to genuinely tune in and comprehend where they're coming from, regardless of whether you at last differ, to search out assorted viewpoints. Encircle yourself with individuals, books, digital recordings, or different sources that present a scope of perspectives and encounters not the same as your own. Effectively search out chances to extend your comprehension and challenge your presumptions. 3. Hug interest. Approach novel thoughts or data with interest and miracle instead of them wariness or protectiveness. Pose inquiries. Investigate various points and stay open to having your brain change for perceived tendency to look for predictable feedback. We as a whole will quite often search out and focus on data that affirms our current convictions, known as preference for non-threatening information. Be mindful of this normal tendency and deliberately think about proof, the viewpoints that challenge your perspectives. 5. Commend development and advancing as opposed to feeling compromised or humiliated when you're refuted or need to adjust your point of view. Celebrate it as a chance for development and learning. Recognize that being available to groundbreaking thoughts and evolving your brain is an indication of solidarity at shortcoming. By embracing the insight of Marcus Aurelius and developing an outlook of liberality and readiness to transform, you can open a universe of conceivable outcomes. You'll be better prepared to explore the intricacies of life. Stay versatile despite changing conditions. Also, keep developing and advancing all through your process. Recollect the truth doesn't have anything to fear. Our protection from change and obstinacy in gripping to old convictions can keep us down. So take a full breath, open your psyche and embrace the experience of persistently looking for truth and figuring out the way. May not generally be simple, yet the compensations of development, understanding and individual advancement make it all beneficial. Living with trustworthiness and Part 4. Living with genuineness and uprightness. Uprightness suppose it is some game and playing with companions, and at some direct or the other, you get an opportunity to bend the principles or even cheat a bit, getting an uncalled for advantage, or maybe you are an understudy and you are doing your task. You run over some material that could be of a great deal of help if you could utilize it straightforwardly, yet that would be cheating. These are in some cases real factors. Also, in such cases, it very well might be generally simple to surrender to the tension gave. There is a conviction that the demonstration won't ever be found. The insightful Roman sovereign and savant Marcus Aurelius had an alternate point of view. He popular said, on the off chance that it isn't correct, don't make it happen. If it isn't correct, don't say it. These straightforward words convey a strong message about the significance of uprightness, trustworthiness, and moral direct altogether. Parts of life respectability implies making the best decision in any event when it's troublesome, or then again nobody is watching. It's tied in with remaining consistent with your qualities and standards and settling on decisions that line up with what you know to be correct. And genuine trustworthiness is a vital piece of this. Being honest as would be natural for you and activities, and declining to take part in misdirection or contemptibility, regardless of how enticing or advantageous it could appear to be. Living with respectability and trustworthiness can be staggeringly extreme, yet it's a quality loved and respected by numerous exceptional people and social orders. Since forever ago, contemplate Abraham Lincoln, the 16th leader of the US. Notwithstanding confronting gigantic difficulties and cruel analysis, he was profoundly regarded for his steadfast genuineness and commitment to making the right decision. On the other hand, incalculable instances of people and associations have endured serious side effects for abusing standards of respectability and genuineness. The Enron embarrassment, for example, elaborate monstrous corporate extortion and unscrupulousness, at last prompting the organization's ruin and the detainment of a few top chiefs. In later times, we've seen instances of moral initiative and the positive effect it can have. Take, for example, the open-air apparel organization Patagonia, which has fabricated its image around ecological supportability and moral strategic policies by remaining consistent with its qualities and declining to think twice about issues like fair work rehearses and ecological obligation. Patagonia has developed a reliable client base and a standing for uprightness that separates it from contenders. So how might you begin creating and rehearsing respectability and trustworthiness in your own life? Here are a few useful techniques. 1. Characterize your values. Carve out opportunity to think about what's really essential to you. Fundamental beliefs and standards. Compose them down and allude back to them consistently to assist with directing your choices and activities. To work on being honest. Attempt to tell the truth and genuine even in minor circumstances. On the off chance that you coincidentally split something, own ready, assuming that you're battling with a task. Be forthright rather than rationalizing. 3. Foster moral fortitude. It takes mental fortitude to make the best choice, to go with an honorable choice when one can undoubtedly enjoy some unacceptable thing. 2. Acquire a right benefit. Work on defending what you accept is correct in any event. When testing for, search out moral good examples. Search for people who have exhibited outstanding uprightness and genuineness in your life or history. Learn from their model and let their accounts motivate you to live with comparative standards. 5. Expect moral dharmas. Ponder likely circumstances where you could confront a moral or moral situation and consider how you would answer in a manner that maintains your values and uprightness. 6. Consider yourself responsible. At the point when you commit an error or miss the mark regarding your moral principles, get a sense of ownership with it gained from the experience and use it as inspiration to improve next time. Lived with uprightness and trustworthiness isn't tied in with being ideal. It's about reliably doing what's right and remaining consistent with your qualities in any event. When it's muddled, an excursion has consistent self-reflection, mental fortitude, and a obligation to self-awareness by embracing the insight of Marcus Aurelius. Furthermore, developing an existence of respectability and trustworthiness, you'll fabricate a strong moral establishment for you and rouse others around you to do the equivalent in vision. A reality where everybody resided by the rule of on the off chance that it isn't correct, don't do it. On the off chance that it isn't correct, don't say it. A world based on trust, regard and moral direct, so take a full breath, tap into your inward strength and boldness. Furthermore, focus on carrying on with an existence of respectability and genuineness. It will not generally be simple, yet the prize is an unmistakable heart, a positive effect on people around you, and the information that you're remaining consistent with your qualities will make it all beneficial. Hug this old insight. What's more, let it guide you towards self-awareness, moral initiative, and the daily existence. Admirably carried out all through this experience, we found out about the suggestions of the extraordinary and indifferent rationalists, for example, Seneca and Marcus Aurelius, and how those thoughts could be useful in the contemporary world, from developing happiness and appreciation about what we should foster self-control and empathy to being responsive and serious in the quest for truth and respectability. Their thoughts have given us an unmistakable bearing to development, joy and moral person. Apathetic way of thinking is the conviction that genuine joy and inner serenity come not from outer conditions, but rather from our capacity to control our considerations, feelings and responses to our general surroundings by moving our viewpoint. Furthermore, adjusting our activities to prudent standards, we can open a profound feeling of internal strength, versatility and reason, regardless of what difficulties or deterrents we may confront. Envision living every day with a significant appreciation for the present. Second, liberated from the consistent craving for additional belongings or status. Envision moving toward each circumstance with a receptive outlook, ready to learn and develop rather than determinedly sticking to obsolete convictions or presumptions. Envision exploring life's intricacies with enduring honesty, pursuing decisions that line up with your most profound qualities and standards in any event. When confounded, this is the force of apathetic shrewdness, an immortal way of thinking that rises above society's times and person conditions, offering a way towards genuine opportunity, realness and the daily existence. Admirably carried out. If it's not too much trouble, ponder our investigated examples and standards as we finish up this excursion. Consider how you can execute them in your day-to-day existence. One little step at a time. You'll start an appreciation diary, recognizing the basic delights and favors encompassing you, or you'll put forth an individual objective to develop more self-control in a specific part of your life, while too expanding more prominent compassion and understanding towards others. Recollect, self-awareness and change aren't accomplished for the time being. They require predictable exertion, persistence and an eagerness to embrace deep-rooted learning. What's more, self-reflection, yet with every little step, each cognizant decision to adjust your contemplations and activities with unemotional standards, you'll establish the groundwork for an existence of more noteworthy reason, satisfaction and internal harmony. On the off chance that you're enlivened to dive further into the world of indifferent way of thinking, innumerable assets are accessible. Consider investigating works like Contemplations by Marcus Aurelius or Letters from an Indifferent by Seneca, which offer significant bits of knowledge and useful insight for exploring life's difficulties. You could likewise investigate present-day understandings and utilizations of emotionlessness. For example, The Snag is the Way by Ryan Holiday, or A Manual for the Upside Life by William B. Irvine. At last, the genuine force of unemotional insight lies in your ready to embrace it, to live it, and to impart it to others.